I'm seeing some new name handles on the live chat. I'll get to those in just a minute. One would be Saeed Bashir. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And also JT Sports asking about specific players. For JT Sports, it's Jeremiah Payton. For Saeed, it's Gurvan Hall. They both want scouting reports where they play into the mix.
Oh, well, I mean, the first thing that you should do is search recruiting notebook and their name of each player, because every year for recruiting, I write recruiting notebooks, which are profiles of these guys. Okay, so Gurvan Hall is one of the best three players at safety. He's from Palm Beach, Florida. He went to Palm Beach Central and then Palm Beach Gardens for high school. He was an early enrollee last year. He famously was the player that Nick Saban landed his recruiting helicopter to go recruit to try to get him to come to Alabama, but instead he decided to go to Miami. 5'10", 5'11"-ish. He's pictures on social media, he looks huge. He's probably like 195, 200 pounds, but rock solid muscle. He's a guy who's going to figure into that top rotation at safety, I believe. Again, Gurvan Hall with Bubba Bolden and Amari Carter. So, you know, he has the ability, Gurvan Hall does, to maybe even flex down to play a little bit of slot corner in certain situations. I wouldn't put him there 100% of the time, but he can cover. And he will knock you out. He will hit. I mean, him and Amari Carter, they hit like, you know, a ton of bricks. So his physicality is definitely something that he is able to flash. And even when he would play in, you know, just certain late game situations last year, you can see the range, because that's one of the things that he excels at, just covering ground from sideline to sideline. I mean, he, you know, is you know, a very rangy safety in the middle of the field. And again, his physicality, like he's big and he hits big. He plays even bigger than his size. So that's a guy who should figure into even maybe being in that top, you know, 1.5 unit. So maybe, you know, if you do not a whole 11 change, but you bring in that next 5 after the first starting 11, Gurvan Hall is going to be in that top 15, 16 rotation overall, probably. Jeremiah Payton from Duncan U. Fletcher up in Neptune Beach, Jacksonville area. He's a 4-star. Both of these guys are 4-star recruits, by the way. Payton is a 4-star recruit. He's the best, or one of the best wide receivers in the state of Florida. 6'1", about 185 pounds. He's a smooth operator, and he's just always made plays, even going back. And every recruiting piece that like the local paper did up there in Jacksonville, they were talking about him even from, you know, his 6th, 7th grade Optimist level days of, you know, just being a dynamic player. He was quarterback when he was younger, because you put the best kid at quarterback because they touch the ball every play, things like that. So, yeah, he's smooth. And again, there's more pros about each player's strengths and weaknesses on their recruiting notebooks. But Jeremiah Payton, that's one who's a little bit unknown just because he's brand new. He just enrolled in January, so I think this spring is going to be really big for him as you know, he goes through and learns kind of, you know, the Miami way to do things at the college level. Even though he's very polished for a high school receiver, there's still levels to his game that can be added. And then once we really see how he goes through spring, then we can get a maybe idea of where he might fall on the depth chart. But again, wide receiver is arguably the most talented position on the roster, along with defensive backs, I would say. So both of those guys do have strong competition and on the caliber of player that they're competing with for snaps. But in that, both of them play positions where multiple players are on the field from their same position at the same time. I think that both of them could potentially see the field. I would put Hall in front of Payton in terms of potential playing time right now, just because Payton is a freshman and Hall is a sophomore.